It's Saturday, 13th of March, 2021. In today's post-match pod, we discuss today's game as Fleetwood travelled to Bloomfield Road for the second Fylde Coast Derby of the season. I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Blackpool 0, Fleetwood Town 0, stale cod.
Ollie's already changed the world. Small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to... That was a very good start, was it? Worst start ever. Welcome back to the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Blackpool 0, Fleetwood Town 0. Ben is happily joining us for the first segment of the show, so welcome, Ben.
Thank you, John. Not a very good game, but I'm sure we'll get on to that in a minute.
We certainly will. Typical Blackpool Fleetwood game. Good evening, Tim, in your semi-crypt.
Yeah,
the Prince of Darkness is just about to come crashing down on us.
Yes, I've had, as I said before in pre-show, I've had my vaccine today. So if I keel out off to one side, that's the explanation. Anyway, a point of order before we start. Serious point of order. Derby. Hello.
I have had a couple of people call me out on it. I'm saying it is a derby. I think the Fylde Coast Derby is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is though. And that's Ben. Obviously, it's a hot topic. We as Blackpool fans, I think we've been a bit maybe arrogant about it, but I think I'm coming round to the fact that it is a derby game now, and it's the Fylde Coast Derby. It's not the derby; it's a derby. I think it is a derby. What do you think, Nick?
If it was a Premier League derby, it would be Fulham against Chelsea. No one gives anything about it, but it's still a derby. It's two sides that are on the map. So it's not a rivalry, but a derby is two teams that play each other that are very close to each other in the map. That's what Blackpool and Fleetwood. I've never said we're rivals, but I'd say it's a derby, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Penny for your thoughts, Nick. You're looking a bit disgusted there. Yeah. Floppy hair and all.
Is it balls? No. I know what you mean, geographically and everything, but I mean, when we play Preston, I'm like virtually throwing up on the day of the game. I'm that nervous about the thought of losing to him as much as you look forward to the game, and it still feels, I don't know, a bit like just another game for me at the moment. Yeah, I can't get too excited about it. Maybe if we stay in the same division and it keeps happening, maybe it'll grow on me. But
it's got a bit more. It's got more of an edge than against, I don't know, Chesterfield or
maybe
or Wickham.
Yeah. But beyond that,
growing every year.
Slightly, yeah.
one step by one. We're about step 7. We've got about 93 to go.
Give it 20 years or so at least.
Yeah, maybe.
Matt, knowing Steve Kerwood as you do, what's your take on this, and what's his take?
Oh, his take, so long as he's getting paid, he's happy. He wouldn't give a shit.
So you can't say that. Randy Pilly might be listening.
No, I don't. I'm probably 100% accurate in that regard, I'm sure. I don't think there's any sort of, there's just no, real history yet, is there, as such? So, geographically, yeah, there's a derby, but, quite frankly, there's no real rivalry as such, is there? Let's be honest, 10 years ago, we were in the, wherever we were, Premier League, and Ben, what year were Fleetwood in the Football League? About 10 years ago?
Yeah, we got in about 7 or 8 years. I think we were in the National League or the National League North back then. So, you've obviously gone down a few and we've gone up a few. So it's...
Yeah, so, I mean, that's where the history is, literally in the last handful of years, isn't it? So, yeah, it's a derby in geographical senses only. That's
anyway, gentlemen. While we're talking about derbies, can you all raise your glasses, please, to Wickham Wanderers?
Yeah,
for a superb 3 points today. Yeah, cheers.
Well done, Wickham, and their ex-Preston player doing the dudes.
Oh, is it? All right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Gareth Ainsworth's the manager as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a famed ex-nobber.
Fantastic.
Right, everybody, let's get going. Welcome to everybody on the show comments. Is John playing baseball tonight? Yes, it is a derby. 100% churlish to say otherwise. Steve's after my heart. No, I'm not playing baseball, but I've got just terrible lockdown hair, so I'm just waiting until the barbers close. There you go.
Open.
Oh, tell me about
Open
it.
even.
Oh, I thought you'd had a bad haircut. I thought you'd had a go with it and messed it up the way you were talking beforehand.
Yeah.
My hair just grows out like a microphone cover when it grows, but it just looks shit. So, hence
Ellis
the hat.
Sims.
John's asking, what's Tim drinking? Where's the ruin? Are you on some of Tim's old ruin?
No, I'm not. I'm on a very diluted G&T, mainly to celebrate Wickham.
Yes, Neil, sorry, we're talking a lot of bollocks here. Let's talk about the game. Let's go on with the game. Right, let's get on with Blackpool 0, Fleetwood 0. What do we do first? We always we talk about the team lineups, don't we? So, Ben, you just play with your nails or do file your nails while we talk about the the Blackpool team lineup, because it'll be totally boring to you. So, Tim, will come to you first. I'll read out the team: Maxwell, Turton, Ballard, Husband, Garbett, Dougal, Stewart, Hamilton, Kai, Sims, and Yates. So, Tim, no place for Jordan Gabriel, which raised a few eyebrows, and Ollie Turton haters came out in force.
I won't call myself an Ollie Turton hater, but I was one of the ones who was rather surprised that Gabriel didn't make the team. But as we'll go on to talk about, no doubt, as it happened, Mr. Turton put in a rather splendid performance. So but I was surprised he didn't come back, and I was also perhaps a tad disappointed that Mitchell didn't start, or Ward. But overall, I felt, maybe obviously he's trying to get CJ back firing in all cylinders, isn't he? I thought perhaps he might still have started from the bench today. Other than that, Dougal coming back was probably the biggest positive for me. I felt that this enforced sabbatical he's had has been too long, and I was glad to see him back in the side. So they were my immediate thoughts. Overall, I think I was reasonably happy with the side, but just a bit disappointed that probably two attacking options that I think would have helped us take the game to Fleetwood a bit more weren't starting.
Nicholas, over to you. What were your thoughts on the lineup?
Similar to Tim, really. Before the match, I thought I would have liked to have seen Gabriel play, Gabriel rather. But Turton, I'm not in the camp of, some of the stuff you see about Turton. People have got the knives out for him. I think he's solid, and we'll come on to talk about the game, and he was today. We maybe just get a bit more going forward in the attacking option, like Tim said. Other than that, yeah, good to see Dougal back in. I mean, I do like Dougal and Ward in there together. I think they complement each other really well. But yeah, other than that, maybe Mitchell starting, and then up top, there's not a lot of other options, is there really at the moment? Unfortunately.
I noticed the coach was in talking about Bez Labala. There you go. Bez is the only other option. The coach said, has anyone seen Bez Labala? Not seen him in training for a bit, thinking of a missing posters. He's literally our only other option. Oh, there's this thing, isn't there? There's your boy, Matty Holmes.
My boy. I think he's unless we get to the point where our season's finished, I genuinely don't think Critch is going to risk any of the young lads, other than maybe 10 minutes off the bench if we've got a few out. He doesn't seem to have the appetite for it, does he, really?
Right, finally, Matt, have you got anything to add to what the other two have said? Vis-a-vis the starting 11?
Yeah, I was probably surprised that Ellis Sims came back in, to be honest. I thought that Critchley was going to be fairly pragmatic with his selection and probably play Yates in a front sort of 3 or 4-4-1-1 type of situation. So I wasn't surprised necessarily that Turton played, especially with CJ Hamilton in front of him. I just don't think he particularly trusts Gabriel and Hamilton on the same flank at the moment, and I don't really know why, because I think Gabriel is equally as effective as a defensive fullback as he is an attacking option these days. I think he's learned a lot over the last few weeks and months with us. Much like the other guys, really, I thought that I'll tell you what I did like. I thought that the four that we chose and Dougal and Stewart, I thought they gave us a really good sort of base to build on. Really, it was just whether we had enough sort of attacking options going forward, which I think ultimately we probably didn't in the end today. But there we go.
Okay, Ben, just to come over to you quickly and Fleetwood starting line. I'm sorry I haven't got the graphic up, but I noticed Paddy Madden was dropped to the bench for you. Was that a surprise?
Well, he's been out with COVID-19 and then he came back a few weeks ago, but he's not been at his best really all season. 7 goals for his standards in 33 games. Normally he's on at least 14, 15 goals by now, but he's not hit those standards. He's been on the bench. Garner's come in, done well, so didn't surprise me. I thought the lineup was probably the best that we could go with. I thought defensively we were outstanding. Hill, I thought he was our man of the match.
He was the son of Matt Hill, wasn't he? I didn't know that. Yeah, he was. He's a very good player, wasn't he? I was impressed with him.
I think he played for Blackpool, did he?
Just the 2 or 3 games in a loan spell.
5, I think they said. Andy Bass said during the game. Okay. So.
Perfect, right? Because I thought him and Turton were the 2 best players. I think Turton for you made 2 vital tackles on Vassell, didn't he, when he went through? But the line was probably as good as we could get. 0-0 was probably, warranted the lineup really. It was long ball to no.
Were you happy with the way your team set up and the general starting 11? Would you have made any changes?
With Grayson, it's always going to be, hit and open, hope for the best. You know what I mean? And it's like, it can be boring, but, we've won the last 3 games, so you can't really moan when you win. But, I think games that we've won of late, that you'll go on and lose. I think that's what happened with Blackpool last year. You were scraping games, weren't you, under him? And then, you weren't getting the luck, and then that's when you were losing games. So I just wish you went for it a little bit more, because I felt like, you were there for the taking today. I thought defensively you were okay, but you made a couple of mistakes where a good team would have maybe have haunted you. I don't think you were at your best today, but if that's not you at your best and you're getting results, it shows a sign of a good team.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to the game then. Nick, let's start with you. What was the bong status, do you think, regarding how we started the game? Was it a quick toke or a full blast on a
wasn't too bad. I was just looking at my notes there, and I'd written open start. I think we had
first minute. Kai missed kick when he was slotted in. Do you remember that? Should have scored.
Yeah.
Completely.
Well, yeah, it was a great chance. Slotted in from CJ, and that's normally the type of chance he takes, doesn't it? Coming onto
side foot in,
ball like that hits the target and it hits the back of the net, but. Just fluffed his lines, unfortunately. But yeah, I thought it was quite an open start compared to what we've seen in previous games, and we weren't. I didn't think we were pre-match bongs. Put it that way.
Ben, just to give you a bit of a backstory to what we're on about here, Blackpool, we've been traditionally very poor at starting, very slow out of the traps at either half time or right at the start of the game. So. We've come out with this silly analogy that they're all smoking gear, but either before the game or at half time. So that's what that's about. But just to give you a bit of an overview there. So on 6 minutes, there was a penalty appeal, Ben, for Fleetwood. Hit the arm of Dan Ballard. I know we all struggled to see this via the shitness of the iFollow replay. So A, do you think it was a pen? And B, what were your just general views? And if you got us a better view than we did?
I saw it. I didn't think it was a penalty. I'll be honest with you. I think if that's a penalty, I think you've won, don't you? Later down the line, that's a penalty. So I don't think it's a penalty. I think it would have been soft if it was given. So I think in League One, you just got to accept the referee's going to make bad decisions, and you got to move on, haven't you?
Yeah. Were you happy with the way Fleetwood started the game? First 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I thought that was probably the best, way we got into the game, and is what I thought we did well was, sucked up your pressure, used it long to Vassell, and that's how he got in. And then he came 1-on-1 with Husband one time and two, and got back well. I thought we played well in parts in the first 15 minutes. I still think that you grew slowly into the game as we tired throughout it, and if the game probably would have gone on that 5-10 minutes extra in the first half, Blackpool probably would have gone in at half time 1-0 up.
Okay. Tim, let's come to you regarding another great chance we've had on 9 minutes. Joey Yates, that little header, if you remember. Kakai, decent work. Decent work down the left-hand side.
Yes.
Garbett's completely fluffed his shot, and it's ended up just in front of Joey Yates, and he's just got the task of nodding it into either corner, and unfortunately he's headed it straight at Cairns.
Yeah, I know.
We're expecting Joey in the rich vein of form he's in to stick that away.
Just what I was going to say, really. If you were going to pick any player you would want to be coming in on that ball, it would be him, wouldn't it? And to be fair, he connected with it, didn't he? And Cairns, Cairns saved it. So I think it's one of those. It most certainly was probably one of the few out of the seat moments from the game, wasn't it, from our perspective? And I mean, I've generally been, as you know, been disappointed with Kai this year, but he was involved in some of the more positive incidents that we put together in an attacking sense today. So I think it was overall a better effort from him. I think the only other thing I'd want to say in relation to those opening exchanges, having had Dougal out for 4 or 5 games, it's interesting because I went on AVFTT just before we came on, and there was quite a lot of people criticising him, saying he was still suffering from COVID and misplacing his passes. But in the first 15 minutes, I thought his passing was excellent, and I think he just demonstrated what we've been missing. Somebody who if you compare it with the MK on Tuesday night, where everybody in midfield was just hoofing it to get rid of it, he was always, sometimes it doesn't come off, but he's always trying to find a man, always trying to keep possession, and particularly that, I wrote it down. Dougal kept possession time and time again. And I think, he needs to stay in the side. And, he isn't, I think with the problem we had probably in the first half, particularly until Grayson changed the team in the second, was that he and Stewart were slightly outgunned in midfield because of the way that they set up. So we were always playing 5 against 4 with 2 wide players. So when they come in, and Kai's neither use nor ornament in a defensive sense, is he? CJ's just coming back from injury, although I thought he did track back a bit. But we've got 2 against, sometimes against as many as 5. So they do look like they're chasing shadows a bit, but they are nevertheless holding that line and stopping Fleetwood getting through. So, I think until he went, I don't think it was Stewart's greatest game, but him and Stewart, most certainly defensively, I felt had a very, very good first half.
Matt, coming over to you. If you notice in the chat, there's a few comments coming in about Kai. Once again, for me, he's flattered to deceive in this game, and it's like playing with a passenger in the team almost for me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Tim. I thought he played okay, quite frankly. He was involved in most of the good things that we did in the first half, really. But you're always thinking that he should offer a little bit more.
It doesn't warrant a place in the starting 11 for me.
Well, it's difficult because I always think that. I mean, I gave my sort of starting 11 yesterday. And I thought that he was going to start because I think that the way we set up against most people at the moment or most teams at the moment rather is to be solid, and then we'll see how the game develops. And I think if you're going to have somebody in your side, it's going to be Kai to do a particular job rather than let's say Mitchell, who is more of an out and out attacking sort of threat, I guess, really. He's maybe not as disciplined, perhaps, as Kai, and Kai can get his foot in more of a central position as well. But, I think he's definitely, how can I put it? he's got to work very hard to get a new contract with us. I think that's where I'm coming from. I think he's not necessarily in the last chance saloon as far as a starting 11 spot goes, but I think he's still got a lot of work to do to get another contract out of Blackpool Football Club come the summer.
It's hard to argue with that. There's a few arguments raging in the comments. So
can I just qualify what I'm saying? I thought he was. Whilst I think he was involved in some of our better moves today, there weren't many of them, and I think Matt makes a good. I still think he's neither use nor ornament in a defensive scenario. So you're effectively carrying him for the positive bits he brings to the game, and I've knocked him game after game after game this season, but I don't think it was his worst effort for us today.
No, it wasn't his worst
by any stretch of the imagination.
No, by his low standards, it's not really a big high bar to get over. What Luke Sharman says there, that nails it for me. He's not a player with hands, and he can't beat a man 1-on-1. Doesn't even try. He's just not an outlet on the left hand side unless the ball's played to him and he's in an advanced position on the pitch. He just goes sideways or goes backwards.
Yeah, it's funny, really, because when you always listen to, especially away from home, and you get the commentary, they always seem to pick out Kai as a threat. But when we watch him, we don't see him as a threat. We see him most of the time, sort of maybe 70% or 30% of the time, 70-30 is sort of in favour of him being more of a hindrance than a threat, perhaps. So he's not obviously sort of flavour of the month or flavour of the last 6 months, perhaps. I still think there's a part of him that can turn a game and do well and all that sort of stuff. But, at League One level, you just have the good, consistent performance. And he doesn't necessarily give you that. And I think that's the problem with him when you compare him to not necessarily players in our squad, but certainly players that we play against. And you just think, I wouldn't mind him on our team or whatever. And I think that's where we are with Kai, unfortunately.
I think the other thing is, do we need to be playing him more centrally than out wide, where you probably don't get? It's not his best position, is it?
But would you play him as a number 10, or would you play him as?
This is the problem.
I mean, that's where it becomes a luxury, doesn't it? At League One level, there's not many League One 10s, quite frankly. I mean, we've had. I'll be honest. I think we've had Dewsbury Hall probably as a League One number 10, and you're talking a long time previous to that. Really, when we've had one, and you don't see many opposition League 1 10s as such, really. So yeah, it's a difficult one.
We need a hot topic sound effect, I think, for this. We could rage and talk about this all night, but let's move on back onto the game. Ben, come back to you. Fleetwood's first decent chance of the game came on 23 minutes. I've written Maxwell flapped at cross. I think he punched it poorly. We were looking to get away with it, and Connolly should have scored, really. Ball in from the left. Maxwell's made a pig's ear of it, and Connolly should have stuck the chance away, really. We're disappointed that didn't go in.
Yeah, it's not a mistake you'd expect Chris Maxwell to make.
No.
He was, I think every, 10 good things he did for Fleetwood, he made one mistake, and that's why he's probably, in League One, but he's a very good goalkeeper. And I was surprised when he flapped at it. I think there's a couple of moments where he flapped at things today. Connolly, he's had a few headers this season like that. A couple of opportunities. He's not really taking one. He's only scored one, and that was a finish with his feet against Sunderland back in November. So, it's disappointing that we didn't score from that opportunity, but I think it was a half chance at best, really.
It was a good chance, and he should have stuck it away.
It was a half chance at best. I'm trying to stick up to he's my player sponsor at Twitter, so I'm trying to stick up to
Oh, is he? Right. You can't be seen to be slagging him off too much, I guess. Right, 36 minutes. Right, this was a contentious point in the game. Batty's already been booked, and then this has happened. Now, obviously, you can't make decisions based on stills. So, Tim, I'll just come to you first on this. Ben, you can have your say in a minute. What was your thoughts, Tim, when A, was it a foul, and B, if it is a foul, does that warrant a second yellow card?
Yeah, it was a foul for me. I thought the ref, he can't even say he was poor. Look at where he is.
Well, yeah, I know. He's
got the best view in the house, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's
bottled it, hasn't he? He's bottled.
His stud's up in it, and he's nowhere. His stud's nowhere near the ball. So you look at that stud looks like it's on his ankle. So I think it's a foul. The ball's already gone away. There's definitely no connection. And I think he's a lucky boy to stay on the pitch. Particularly when you look at the way he was dishing yellows out like confetti. I mean,
the Kai yellow card was ridiculous.
I thought Dougal's was harsh, and I think with the Kai one, I remember Dougal pointing. I don't think it wasn't this incident. It was another incident where the ref didn't give a yellow, and basically saying, well, if Kai's is, I think Andy Bay said the same thing, didn't he? Kai's is, then that has to be. So there's a little bit of inconsistency there, but I think maybe because it was first half, maybe because he was on a yellow already, he's probably thought he doesn't deserve to go off so early on the game. But on applying the laws, he should.
Nick, your views on that? A lot of people in the comments are agreeing with us. Richard Hensall says yes, it was a foul and it's a second yellow. Neil McDonald, our ex-manager, says agree, bottled it, and Josh Mellon, if it wasn't on the yellow, he'd have been booked. It was a clear booking, so you've got to apply the letter of the law there, surely.
Yeah, you should do. I agree with everything Tim said. There'd been a couple of dubious ones before that, and then the one that is a yellow, he doesn't give, and it shouldn't come down to, oh, well, he's already on one, and you don't want people to be sent off. But for me, I just thought straight away that's a foul and a yellow, and he's not giving it. And like we said, there was some strange ones before that, particularly with Kai's one, and then there was a challenge from the Fleetwood lad a couple of minutes after, which the Kai one wasn't, and that one from the Fleetwood lad probably wasn't. But you're looking at it going, well, he's given Kai that, and then doesn't on the second one, and then should have given a yellow then for me. I thought it was.
Ben, heart in mouth moment when Batty's put that challenge in and Garbett's hit the deck. Maybe Garbett's made too much of a meal of the foul. Maybe has clipped him and he's gone down a bit spectacularly.
Nah, it's not a yellow card, no.
Right, get him off. Where's the remove button? Where's it?
I will have to agree. I do think it's silly on a yellow.
Come on, there we go. We'll put your full screen as well.
I think it's silly on a yellow, and I think who's put it, if it isn't on a yellow, he gets a yellow for that. But for some reason, I think they give a bit of leeway when there's a yellow card. So
yeah, they do. It does happen, that doesn't it? I think the refs obviously.
It happens, and I agree. I think we were very lucky to have put it on. I think maybe we would have been lucky to have 10 men on the pitch at some areas of the game today.
I think the key thing is that it is a foul, and I think the referee recognises the fact that he's got to, if he's giving that foul, he's got to brandish the yellow, and he's thinking, right, well, he's got to put a red card. So the ref's got to be stronger there, and it was a red card for me. But hey ho. Tim, a minute after that, it was bad news for Blackpool as Kevin Stewart's gone off. He's gone down in the build-up to that challenge a minute before, and he's on the deck. And
I don't think we actually went back and were able to see actually what had happened as to what made him crumple. But
I think it was a nothing challenge. He just got bundled to the floor.
To be honest, it was pretty obvious because he looked in a lot of pain, didn't he? That I was saying to I was sat here watching it with Elliot, and I said to him, I said, he's not carrying on. And I think he wanted to, didn't he, when he first went off, and until the physios basically signalled it was a definite change. But yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, I'm still not sure whether Dougal and Stewart are the best combination for us, because of the lack of the attack. And I think, as I think Matt said before, I think Dougal plays perhaps best with Ward, but there's no denying that Stewart's a quality player. And whilst he wasn't probably at his best today, he is still very accomplished on the ball, and he's a class player. And it's difficult not to start him when you look at the options that we've got available to us. And again, I still come back to, if we're going to get the best out of the players we've got, we need to have a shuffle in the formation for me, and that's to go 3-5-2, and I think if we do that, and then we have Stewart, assuming he's going to be fit enough, and if he's not, then there's other options.
Does anyone know what the injury is?
It mentions in the comments there, John. I think it's Blackpool. Johnny said, Critchley said in his interview that someone had landed on him. It's an ankle problem, which he's probably going to need a scan. So that sounds a bit worrying, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was clearly in a lot of pain, wasn't he? In the immediate aftermath of it, and it's probably ligaments, isn't it?
That's not good. Eddie's just also said it was a naughty challenge from Finlay on Stewart. Should have been on the yellow.
There was a few feet being left in, wasn't there? A few little niggling challenges around that time. He was getting a bit feisty at times, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it wasn't it kind of came to life, didn't it? In terms of the edginess of the game. It was quite pedestrian but slow. There wasn't any crunching challenges going in the first 50 minutes, but it came to life anyway. And it's still 38 minutes of written Turton volleys over from the bar from Garbett byline cross. Nick, if you recall this chance,
I do. He had a lot of time to pick somebody out, didn't he, Garbett? I did wonder whether he'd have been better off kind of just drilling it across the 6-yard box and seeing if someone could get a touch on it, but floated it over, and it's maybe not the best person you want it to go to. Although he had a very good game, that's not really his strong point, and he was leaning back, unfortunately, and it flew over.
So as the first half petered out, Matt, were you happy with the first half performance, or do you think we were?
Well, happy to. Yeah, I mean, happy to a point. I mean, I thought of the chances that were few and far between on both ends of the pitch, I thought we had the better of those. I was sort of, hoping that we were going to be a bit more sort of progressive. But the longer the game went on, even in the first half, I just thought it's just turning out to be a bit of a bit of a slog, quite frankly. And that probably goes with, we know how Grayson manages his teams and sets them up and all the rest of it. But also, we're lacking a little bit of creativity going forward, aren't we? And I think with us playing, the guys in midfield, I thought did pretty well, quite frankly. I thought, Dougal and Stewart, and then Dougal and Virtue against what was effectively 3 against 2 in midfield. I thought they did really well. But where we didn't sort of really do anything was the fact that we didn't or weren't able to utilise either Kai or CJ Hamilton down the flanks, really. And you just thought there was sort of missed opportunities there, and we weren't possibly clever enough or brave enough to play particular passes, and we were a little bit sort of conservative, really. So, yeah, 0-0 at half time was obviously where we were at, and I just thought we were just, I don't know, we needed a bit of a spark somehow, and I looked at the bench and I wasn't entirely sure where that was going to come from, and we'll probably talk later on about the fact that we haven't and don't have a replacement for Medine in the ranks at the moment, and while Sims is doing what he's doing, if he isn't doing it, then we definitely don't have a replacement for him either. And I think that's where we'll potentially come, maybe, get sort of caught short ultimately.
So, Ben, your thoughts going in at 0-0 at half time? A, were you happy with your team's performance in the first half? B, were you pleased at the fact that we're still levelling the game? And C, John Scott's put Cods were never that dirty under Barton. Fair dues, they. Is that a fair comment? Would you say?
Yeah.
Would you say that they were quite dirty under Barton, or more so under? I wouldn't say dirty. That's a strong word, isn't it? Robustness of challenges, shall we say?
Physical.
I am alright to swear, aren't I?
Of course, you fucking are. Yeah.
I'd say Fleetwood. I'd say it was like Mourinho when he did that interview in the documentary. He got them to be intelligent cunts. You know what I mean? Like, foul there.
I don't think anyone's ever dropped a C-bomb yet.
Let's take it to a different level.
And then in that
Out of the mouths of babes, eh?
I know. Honestly, you've been down the wing. You're 1-0 up. Clattering. It was like a lot of tactical fouls, and you get a lot, and most of the yellow cards would come from Fleetwood time wasting, or like the odd shirt back, and it was but under Grayson we've had a few yellow cards of late, so maybe they don't want to play under Grayson's system, so they thought if I get sent off I don't have to play for him for 3 games. So no, but first 45 minutes I thought we were okay. I thought Blackpool shaded it. very minimal chances, but you're always happy going in at 0-0. I just thought second half, I thought Blackpool would up the gear. I thought both managers would be okay, but they'd want that little bit more. And I thought, Blackpool, would come out second half a lot better.
I'm just still laughing about the C-bomb that you've just shot there, Ben.
We'll have to have a parental advisory sticker on this show. Explicit.
Oh, Ross DLC said C-bomb from Babyface, smiley face. Oh, Nappers, can we have you every week? That was quality. Highlight. That's been the highlight of the game, the stream, everything today. That was the best moment of the day. Right, on to the second half. I put 47 minutes, Tim. Sims clean through, but pokes it straight at Cairns. No, not clean through, but I think I was doing a Smith at this point. I just poked my head in the room. I think I was getting a cup of tea, and I noticed Sims with the ball at his feet. You're looking a bit perturbed, Tim.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the chance, to be honest. I've got.
I'll move on then, Matt.
I've got Ellis Sims unlucky, I've written.
Nick, come on, someone help us out.
I'm just looking at my notes now. Well, there was a chance before that where Yates had a couple of shots blocked. There was a bit of ping-ponging in the box. And then I've got written down here. Yeah, Garbett cross. Yates header. Yeah, it was a Yates header, wasn't it? And
yeah.
And I thought he was just going to put his foot through it and score, but unfortunately he didn't. And it wasn't a bad start to the second half from us. It was, better than what we've seen previously. And you look across the course of the game, there's that chance. There's a Gary Yates one, and the one we'll come on to with CJ.
Can no one remember this chance then? So Ben, did you see it when?
Oh, yeah.
No, Ellis Sims. He's got the ball clean at his feet, and he's just got Cairns to beat. He's poked it straight at him. And then you've gone down the other end, and who was it? Garner stings. I've written Garner stings Maxwell's hands, and then Vassell tries to take them off on the rebound.
That's what I mean. He had a few of those, didn't he? Where never mind blank. He went floppy flat, didn't he? A few times today, Maxwell. So, I thought Maxwell would have to come off at that point. I was hoping so, anyway.
Vassell, and let's talk Kyle Vassell quickly. Tim, I think it was a handful all game. I think he's the classic centre forward, isn't he?
I think what it shows is, and this is probably where we've made our mistake in the January transfer window, isn't it? Medin's always had his career is littered with periods of injury, aren't they? So, I think we've trusted that either he would stay fit or that Sims was going to produce the goods. And I think when you look at Fleetwood signing Vassell, who's a proven player at this level on loan, I think when we look back at this season, we'll think we should have looked to have brought somebody in with a little bit more experience. And I think I like Vassell. We didn't see much of him, did we? But because of the boycott years, but he was always a quality player for Blackpool, and I thought he was a right. And I mean, the tussle between him and our two centre backs today was great to watch. To be fair, they were both, no quarter was given by anybody, was there?
So I've put 50 to 65 minutes. The period in the game. This was the period of the game where neither side could string two passes together. Anyone remembers this? It was just an awful period of football from both sides.
It was pretty much.
I've got sloppy written down, and that's it, because that's what it was. There was just passes going astray. Even like Dougal had a couple of stray passes, which is unusual for him. And other than that, I thought he was good. But yeah, it just wasn't happening, was it? For whatever reason, across the pitch.
Yeah, I just wrote down Fleetwood shithousery at that particular point. To
be fair, Matt, we were shithousery as well.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was a sort of a very professional sort of performance, I guess, if you want to put it more politely. There were, I thought there were, there's a little bit of pulling and shirt pulling of Dougal and a few equally shirt pulling of, their midfield players and all that sort of carry on going on. And I actually did, just going back to the previous point, I did write down Vassell versus Husband. I thought that was a great tussle, really, because I thought Husband did particularly well, because he isn't the centre half, is he, by definition? And I thought he learned really quickly that he can't physically beat him, but where he can beat him is his timing of his heading. And I thought he did really well, and sort of negated him as best as he could, really. And Vassell equally was clever by not playing on Ballard. He was playing on Husband, because obviously Ballard's a proper centre half, if you will. So I thought that was cute on both players' behalf, really. So, but you're right, that sort of, after that first sort of couple of minutes of the second half, I thought the next 10 or 15 minutes were pretty turgid, really, just sort of a League One slog, wasn't it?
Ben, what did you think? Because Grayson sort of changed the formation, didn't he? Was it around just as when he brought his subs on, about 60 minutes, wasn't it? What do you think he was hoping to achieve by that? Because I actually thought, apart from that sloppy period, you'd probably dominated the midfield, and I didn't quite understand why he felt the need to change it.
Well, I think he tried. Yeah, we went from a back 3-5-2, didn't he, to a 4-3-3. I think he just tried to open up, your back four, really, and put a little bit more pressure, because we have Burns, who's, he missed the utility man, playing at, I think, left wing back today. He's a right wing back, and I don't know if you saw today the amount of the time the ball went over that he just couldn't quite control his right foot, because he can't use his left. It's for standing on. So he got moved out to the right hand side. We can use his pace, and then you have Manning out on the left himself through the middle. So I think it's good that we've still got three in the middle, and then you've got three up front. And I didn't think we needed that extra man at the back. So I think he was just trying to achieve to get into Blackpool's faces a little bit more. I don't remember really having an opportunity when we went to a 4-3-3. I think we would have been better suited sticking with a 3-5-2, maybe bringing Duffy on for Finlay or Batty, add a bit of creativity to the midfield, because we didn't have Callum Camps today, because he's our creative midfield. And you look at Fleetwood midfield, Roster, Finlay and Batty, they're all defensive-minded midfielders, very disciplined, very good, but barring Garner and Vassell up front, you're not going to get many goals. When we had 4-3-3, there's that extra attacker on the pitch.
When Burns did switch to the right, he had that chance, didn't he, where he cut it back for Vassell, and probably that was your best chance of the game. So maybe, you look at what Grayson did, and you maybe think that moving Burns from the left to the right, if that had come off, then it would have been a masterstroke, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think he reminded me a bit of the chance when I think the only win against you, when Madden scored. It was a similar chance to that, but this one went over. But it was a good move, and that was probably our best chance, really, that Vassell needs to do better on. And I think he had 3 or 4 chances today, Vassell, where Yates didn't really have any. And if Yates got one, he would have probably scored. That's the difference in the strikers right now, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, Matt, talking about, Ben's just mentioned Fleetwood's best chance. Our best chance has come after this terrible 15 minutes period playing the game on 66 minutes when CJ Hamilton's hit the post, and when surely he's going to score from this position. Decent ball in from Kai, and he's hit the post. So what's he done wrong there?
Yeah, well, he's probably gone the wrong side of the goal, hasn't he, really? It was one of those where if it was Jerry Yates, you'd be waiting for the net to bulge. But unfortunately, it's CJ Hamilton. And I touched on it on Tuesday night after the MK Dons report that we were doing, that he's not a natural finisher, although he scored, a few goals.
I remember you saying that, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I think somebody said on Tuesday night that he's left-footed, and this was on his right foot as well. So it was almost doubly against him in that regard. But he seemed to have an age, and it did seem to take an age for him to get his shot away. And in these tight games, you've got to take your chances, haven't you? And that was as clear cut as it gets, unfortunately, for us. So yeah, obviously disappointing that we didn't finish it. Simple as that, really. Yeah, not a lot else you can say, really.
No. Nick, your thoughts on that chance?
Same as Matt. Yeah, you're just thinking go across the goal. I mean, there was a Fleetwood player on the line next to the keeper, but even so, it's the better option in that position, isn't it? Yeah. And like Matt said, you probably wish it goes to Jerry Yates in that situation, and we may have had a different outcome.
So Blackpool have nearly scored, and Ben, Fleetwood have responded a minute later, and I've put a Finley P roller when it's opened up for him. Is the seas parted for him to have a shot, didn't they? And he's just not connected with the ball at all. It's just rolled into the hands of Maxwell. So, were you disappointed with that?
Yeah, I was, because it was an opportunity, and I felt that's when we started to really, get in your faces from midfield then. And there was an option on the other side. I'll never have a go at playing for having a go, but because he struck some beauties this season. I think
Has he really?
Yeah.
Right.
MK, I think the best one was MK Dom's away. We only scored like 1 goal and 7. He scored from 25 yards out, and Fleetwood's media team described it as a close range strike. It was from 25 yards
So
out.
that's the kind of chance that's the sort of player that you want on the end of that chance, then, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe he's one of those types of players. It's so weird in League One, where if he had, if he had hit it like that, he'd probably strike it really well and he'd fly into the top corner. But he had a little bit of time to think about it, and I think he overthought it, really. So
yeah.
On another day, he'll strike that and it'll go in.
You've had Cal Vassell had another chance like a minute later, and he's dragged his shot wide, and then Vassell again on 80 minutes. The ball in from the right hand side. I've written down Fleetwood's best chance of the game so far. He's got inside the defender, got goal side of him, and he's side footed it, but it's just gone over. It was a good chance.
It was a good chance, and I like the way his little movement to create that chance. And he might not score, with the amount of opportunities he should do, really, but his movements and his, how hard he'll work. He is like an old-fashioned centre forward, which you want in the team. But I think you need someone with him up front, like a Paddy Madden. That's why, Garner's all right, but Madden would probably be the better option. That's why I was just wondering when we had to let go of Ched Evans, because they should be playing together, really. But it could
have been the difference if you'd had Evans playing today. It could have been a difference for you in that game, because he's doing the business at Preston, isn't he?
Exactly. It's like the same for you, Medina, as well. I think they're two very good, influential strikers, and the way they can hold the ball up. And you do that with Yates. He holds the ball, Yates gets in behind. That's what Ched Evans did for us. But Vassell should have scored. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I've got to mention, John, just I think in my notes, it was a minute before that Vassell was very nearly clean through, and there was a brilliant recovery tackle from Ollie Turton. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I thought he had a very good game, Turton, to be fair.
He had to get that right as well, didn't he? Because if he didn't, he was off.
Yeah, wasn't Andy Bays? Andy Bays was going. He was going off his nut on the commentary, saying it's a foul. This, that, and the other. I was like, oh, he's clearly won the ball.
You see, he got the ball. Yeah, I thought it was a great challenge.
Mm-hmm. He's a closet.
And to be fair, Vassell wasn't complaining about it either.
No,
I think he knew he'd got the ball.
Green will put him right, though, didn't he? The ex-player, the one who knows the game.
He's excellent on comms, isn't he, Greenall?
He is. Colin Greenall's great. Bison's just put Andy Bias.
That's it.
That's a good one. So as the game's petered out, I've just written down 90 minutes Virtue just over after the break from Turton down the right. Yeah, that was close, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? And if we know that. I mean, Virtue doesn't score anything inside the 18-yard box, does he? Really? Very rarely, anyway. And I mean, it was good work from Turton. He squared it over to Virtue, and it was one of those that another day it would have just gone in, wouldn't it? But it hit it well enough. I think it came off a Fleetwood sort of shoulder or whatever, and obviously went
inches
out
over.
Corner. Yeah, and it was.
I was off my chair. I was going, go on.
Yeah. It was a little bit of luck that we hoped for, but unfortunately it didn't quite happen, did it? But I think that was pretty much game over after that, wasn't it? And it was just a shame we weren't able to talk about many more sort of goalmouth incidents. But I say derby games. Any game in League One, quite frankly, this is what they are at the moment. They're just really scrappy sort of affairs, aren't they? So they're very fine lines, a lot of them. So, 0-0, I think, I don't know, was it just about right? I'm not sure. Another day we could have scored 2 or 3, and equally they could have scored 1 or 2, possibly. So I don't think either manager would necessarily be either delighted or disappointed with a point. But, it's one of those where you have to look at other results and think, okay, well, we're unbeaten again. We haven't lost in however many games it's been now, and we move on to the next one. And, we'll just see where we go from there, really. There we go.
I was just going to mention that we had a couple of chances.
I was just wrapping up. Yeah, I've got that on my notes. Cliff just pointed out there. What about Mitchell's last-minute header? Tim, I'll come to you on this. It was kind of downplayed by the comms team. I thought it was a fantastic chance. It was Turton again's gone down the right. He's put it on his. He's put it on a sixpence on Mitchell's head, and he's just. Hasn't he?
Yeah, I know. You look back, and another player with that might well have. I don't know what Mitchell's. With his head, what he's like. Really, we're not seeing much of him.
50p, that's what it's like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think if that had been Yates or Medina or something, we would have been looking at most certainly really, really testing the keeper. And unfortunately, we didn't, did we? And but yeah, it was most certainly a chance. And but I do think probably a draw was a fair result today. I called it 1-1 beforehand, and I think young Ben called it completely right from what I saw of your pre-match blog. So it's probably is what it is today. I think both teams cancelled each other out to a large degree, and we probably had the better chances. But I don't think we played well enough to win the game.
Ben, your final thoughts on the game? Just surmise how you felt after the game, and do you think it was a fair result on the balance of play?
Glad it was over, to be fair, because I thought, you kept coming towards the end, and I thought it can't happen again for a third time where you scored an 90 minute ago. I can't deal with that. No, but it was a decent point. It's 3 clean sheets in a row for us now. I think both sides got a very good defensive. I think before the game you've averaged 0.93 goals against, and we've averaged 0.94. So. It was what it was meant to be on the paper, and decent point going forward against a promotion rival.
Nick, just summarise your final thoughts as the 90-minute as the final whistle's gone.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of quality, and we did have the better chances in the game. So maybe we perhaps have just deserved to edge it, but there just wasn't a lot of quality, was there, in the final third. So it's probably a fair result overall. And like Matt said, it's like a lot of games in this division. It's fine lines, isn't it? And we've relied on, Jerry Yates' magic in quite a few of them, and that wasn't quite there today. And probably why we've ended up at 0-0.
Right, Ben, we'll let you go. Go and have your tea. Thanks ever so much for joining us. We appreciate it as ever.
Lads.
Right. Cheers, Ben.
See you later.
Ben's gone. The final word is from the coach. Back on track with a nice, easy game against Burton on Tuesday. Oh, Jimmy the coward. Hasselbank. Did they win 3?
They were 3-0 up. I don't know what the final score was, but they were 3-0 up.
Yeah, they won anyway.
What was the final Burton score, listeners?
I'll have a look.
Right, well, Matt's looking that up.
Listen, I mean, I know we're probably, and we've seen it in the chat, that people are disappointed that we've dropped 2 points. But if you actually think about it, if you look over our last 5 games, we've got 9 points out of 5, which is just under the 2 a game. And if we're averaging 2 a game over the last, we've got 15 games left, we're on 79 points and we're in the playoffs. So I think we've got to put it into context. The thing is, at the moment, we're winning away. We seem to have a
drawing too many. We're not scoring at home. We've not lost at home for ages, though. When's the last time we lost? Was it October?
But maybe it's the dynamic of when we go away that teams are coming out more and we're able to get behind them. Where when we're playing at home, we're just struggling to break teams down. The issue is we've got a lot of home games left, haven't we?
Yeah, I think if we were we were in the ground, it might push them on a little bit more. But
it's a great point, that Matt.
I was thinking that this morning.
Yeah, equally, I suppose if we draw our home games and win all our away games, then who cares? We'll probably get where we want to be ultimately. But it's something that we need to probably address, isn't it? If we can just get a win at home, ideally on Tuesday against Burton, who are high flying at the moment, aren't they? And let's be honest, they've won 6 in a row, I think, something like that, or something daft, or 7 maybe. It doesn't last forever, those sort of results. So we do raise our game against the so-called better sides in this division. So and maybe under Jimmy Floyd they're playing some sort of Dutch sort of flowing football, like the 1974 squad. But ultimately they won fuck all at the end as well, didn't they?
Right, let's have a quick look at the table. We are in our perennial position of 12th on 49 points, 31 games played. We've got 4 games on Gillingham.
I know. It's just so annoying that when at half-time I had a look at that table and you just thought, if we won today and results were going our way again, and you just thought, we can actually be 8th. And I think if we win on Tuesday, I'm sure, I can't see it's a bit small here, but is that where we'd finish if we were the only ones playing on Tuesday night?
Got your readers on now.
We'd be up to joint 7th and 8th, depending on goal difference.
Yeah. So it makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
And I know these draws that we've had, we could have converted them to wins.
Yeah, but we're not losing, and hopefully other teams might actually lose when we're gaining 1 point. And what we got 15 games left. Yeah, 15 games left. So still a long way to go. And hopefully, if we can get somebody like Medine back, I think that'll make a massive difference for a dozen games come the end of the season. I really do.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's a nice message from Napper's mum. Fabulous live podcast. I've really enjoyed watching. Thank you for your support for the CODS vlog live streams and podcast. Means everything and more. Keep up your hard work. Oh, thanks, Napper's mum. Yeah,
she'll be telling him off now for that C-bomb.
Yeah. She's with soap.
Wonder if she was watching then. Wash his mouth out with soap and water. You won't catch us saying things like that. That's kind of where we draw the line, don't we? I don't think the C-bombs have been dropped on here.
We say see you next Tuesday on a podcast, nothing else.
Loves a C-bomb.
Brilliant.
Oh, that was quality. So the highlights of this journey on YouTube. Right, let's move on to rate the players. So let's start with Chris Maxwell. Matt.
The funny thing is with Chris Maxwell, he's sort of, for me, he's almost, I wouldn't say getting worse. It's a bit of an overreaction.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
He seems to be flapping at crosses and just not looking as secure as he did.
Just ever so slightly getting worse each game. Yeah.
And I wouldn't say, I'd never have any doubts about his ability, but that's just something to throw in there anyway. But I mean, he didn't have a lot to do apart from you nearly throw one in and drop one on a cross. But it's a 7 out of 10, isn't it? I suppose really.
Oh, well, what he's still good at is his distribution from the back is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, I thought that was better today. I'll be honest. I thought his distribution was a whole lot better today. But
look at Eddie.
Yeah, flapping. He was. It was
flapping
bizarre.
like a seagull in the breeze.
It was just something I wrote down before about him flapping as well. So, I don't lose faith in Maxwell at all. But it's just something that, I don't know, it's a funny position, goalkeepers, isn't it? Sometimes you can be overconfident, can't you? And that's sometimes your biggest downfall. But he's experienced, he'll see us through, I'm sure. So,
my boy, Ollie Turton, Tim. Always stuck up for him, me, if anyone listens to this show.
Yeah, and I'm glad I've got him, to be honest, because pre-match I wouldn't have started him. And I think his performance today is, I'm trying to think back, it's probably, I think, the best performance I think we've had out of him this season. As we've spoken about, I think he put 2 or 3 great challenges in what were potentially difficult situations for us, particularly the one that Nick alluded to, where Andy Bays was calling the foul when it wasn't, and he'd won it cleanly.
He was aggressively calling that foul. It bugged me, his reaction to that. It was like he was against.
He wanted it. Yeah. But what I probably liked about Ollie's performance today more than the defensive display was the fact that when he went forward, he was positive. And where I'm critical of Ollie is that he's too keen to hoof the ball up front and just chuck it forward and see what happens. Where I think today he was a little bit more measured, and he got down. A couple of our best chances involved him in the build-up, didn't they? Where he's gone down the right and then he's cut it into CJ when CJ's had his shot, if I remember right. I think it was him, not rather than Garbett. And then the chance at the end with Mitchell's him again. And so I think overall that was a fantastic performance out of him. My only, I'm just troubled a bit about the score. Really, I don't think it was quite a 9, but it wasn't far short.
Go with an 8+ then, Tim.
Yeah, it's going to be my 8. It's going to be my 8+. I think.
Use the fielding scale.
I think 9 has to be something absolutely exceptional for me to give a 9, and I'm going to give it a very, very good 8 though. So quality performance.
Look at Phil's comment in the chat. Do I dare put that on the screen?
Stick it up.
Well, given what's gone previously,
if it's been said,
I don't think it matters now.
No, you might as well. Brilliant. Well said, Phil.
Oh, this is from Napper's mum. Apologies, guys, for the C word. I was shocked.
Brilliant.
Dan Ballard, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a clean sheet, isn't it? So you'd say defensively first and foremost. That's what you want. And where am I going to go? I'm going to go 7. It was pretty steady performance from him. So 7 for me.
Luke Garbett, Matt. In my list.
There we go. I thought Luke had a decent game today. I always thought his dead ball deliveries are pretty good.
Pretty shit with that free kick though, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
target with that.
I think that was
to be ultra picky.
Yeah, to be ultra picky, but then again on the chat you did think he was going to just rattle it.
That's
in
why
like
I brought
David.
it up because I was like saying, this is going in this. And he just smashed it straight the wall.
You forgot it was Luke Garbett and not David Beckham that we got.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be a dead ball specialist. We've seen these videos of him knocking in chances like that, left, right, and centre. And he doesn't do it for us.
Yeah, he's rubbish, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Did you notice that Kai nicked a load of his dead balls today, though, didn't he? Too many of his corners and free kicks.
Never beating the first man in a lot of corners again.
I don't know whether that was to do with the conditions. Maybe it was the wind and all that sort of stuff. Because obviously we're not there, are we? Unfortunately, but I like Garbett. I think his delivery is generally good. It was a fairly solid game from him defensively again. I don't think there's any doubts about us defensively. I think we've, him and Turton and Gabriel are turning out to be 3, pretty decent fullbacks in the squad. So, but he just wasn't able to give us anything else other than a good solid performance, which is great, but it's a 7 out of 10 for me.
Kenny Dougal, Tim, back to his best almost today for me.
Yeah, apart from, I think he had a bit of a dodgy spell in the second half.
It was in that 50 to 65 minute period where no one was passing the ball.
Along with everybody else. But, whilst not at his absolute best, and I think he has lost a little bit of, maybe he lost that little bit yard of pace. But I said that particularly that first 15 minutes, I thought he was superb. I think a couple of people said the same thing, that when Stuart went off, I think he stepped up a bit as well and took the lead a bit more. So I'm going to give him an 8. Not as good as Turton, but one of our better performers today.
Kevin Stewart's half, Nick. 7 average.
Yeah.
Kept things ticking over.
Yeah, as he always does, and then obviously he's gone off injured. So yeah, I'd go with 7.
Chris Hamilton, Matt, not firing, is he?
No, the funny thing is with Hamilton, I mean, when he's on fire, he's absolutely unplayable, isn't he? And I don't know whether it's a case now of him, still finding his way back into it. I'm past that now because he started the last 3 games or whatever it's been. So, if he's starting games, he's fit enough and he should be back to sort of like 100% pretty much. But
he's still a threat when he's on the pitch.
He is still a threat, and there were the occasional times when he was. Looking threatening, but equally there were 1 or 2 times where he just looked like he was lacking a little bit of confidence. And I put it on the chat earlier on that his first touch can be really poor, and that's what lets him down. And it's a funny one because if his first touch was any better, obviously he'd be playing in the Championship probably week in, week out. And he had that opportunity where he hit the post, and it's missed opportunities with CJ Hamilton today, unfortunately. But overall, average, I guess, so 7 out of 10, really.
That was an Owen-style monologue.
It was, wasn't it?
Tim, you're looking very serious.
No, I'm getting slaughtered on the chat for giving Dougal an 8. I was just reading them.
Football's all a game of opinions, viewers.
I'm right and they're wrong.
Right,
what was it? Was it Brian Clough who said we talk about it and then we agree that I was right?
That's right, Brian Clough.
Yeah, Brian Clough. Yeah.
Kakai, Tim. Non-monologue, if you please, because we're on an hour and 5.
Cutting it short, I just don't think he did anything defensively, which is an issue when they're coming on to us. Couple of sparks, but it's a 6 from me. I just won't play him.
5 for me. Ellis Sims, Nick.
I'm going to go 6. I think it's tough for him because, we need Gary Medine, don't we? And he's not Gary Medine. That's not his fault, but it's just he showed he can do it. Look against Charlton, he was brilliant, but then I think today it just wasn't really happening for him. We had that chance that he didn't put away. So I'm going to go 6.
Finally. Matt.
Yeah, what wasn't the sort of barnstorming sort of performance that we've been used to recently, and missed actually probably 1 or 2 half decent chances. But so I guess as a pairing, he and Sims were probably worthy of us 6+ out of 10 for Jerry Yates, really. Yeah.
Right, Tim, man of the match.
I don't think there's any doubt really today, and it's a player I wouldn't have, if I was manager, wouldn't have picked. And that's Ollie Turton. I think he was a barnstorming performance by him, and I think he was. Whilst I gave another player an 8, he was almost a 9, and it was quality. So well done, Ollie.
Nick,
same. Ollie Turton, great game. He was good going forward and great defensively, and that couple of really, really good tackles there as well. So definitely Ollie Turton for me.
As he's my boy, I'm going to give him the Man of the Match award. So, Matt, finally over to you. Is it going to be a clean sweep of the board for Oliver Turton, Man of the Match against Fleetwood?
It is, but I will just jump to Tim's defence about Dougal. I think people forget that he hasn't played for 4 games. I think he missed his partner Stewart, and he held the midfield defence together. And I thought he did really well, but I thought Turton, with those couple of one-on-one sort of challenges, plus his overall solidity at the back, probably deserved it overall.
Yeah, that's a great shout. Right, we're on an hour and 10, gentlemen, so we're gonna head off now. So if you're watching in the stream now on YouTube, please do like, please hit subscribe if you've not done so already. Helps us grow in the algorithms and all that. Hit the notification bell. That gives you alerts whenever we release new brilliant shows like this. So next show we've got coming, there's the 3rd tier on Monday with Tom, and then we're back to league action on Tuesday night with the game against Burton Albion. Fellas, it's going to be tough, isn't it, the form they're in?
Just a bit. They must be the form team in, well, probably Europe at the moment, I think. It's 6 out of 6, is it? They're flying, aren't they? Put 3 past Crewe today, so we're going to need to be at it, but hopefully we will be, and there's still a chance of the playoffs. It might seem a bit far away when we've had those 3 draws at home, but if we get 3 points on Tuesday night, then it's back on. It's a bit of a grudge match, isn't it? I think for the fans with the postponement and stuff. So really, really want us to put one over them.
It's funny that we've got grudge matches now between Swindon and Burton. Who'd have thought of that?
Yeah, bigger the games than Fleetwood.
Right, on that note, I think we'll leave it. Thanks everybody for joining us on the stream this evening. As ever, we do appreciate all your support and we appreciate the comments. So all that remains to be said now is thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading on the audio pod, which will be out later. And up the Who.
What the Who?
Small town from the north of England with a great tradition. Change the world.